Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Monday Morning Yoga. And today we're going to do a top-down limber and a little bit of seated practice, in addition to lots of other things in our practice. So the only thing that I can think that you would need is a bolster or something to sit on if you prefer something else to sit on, maybe a couple of blocks to do some hip work, and something for underneath your knees if they're sensitive against the mat. We're going to start with our feet a little bit wider apart, so we create a nice, firm, steady base, and then just standing tall, finding that inner lift. If you can imagine, the way that we normally stand is a little bit sort of relaxed. We're going to put a bit of effort into growing ourselves as long as we can, without any real force or strain. And if you wish to, you can turn your palms forward so you begin to engage that space across the upper back. You might like to gently lift your pelvic floor and belly muscles, and just making sure that your head is on top of your body, not protruding forwards. Take a moment to close your eyes or gaze gently downward, and just mentally step away from everything else that's going on around you. Imagine yourself stepping onto your yoga mat and creating this quiet calm around you. A space and a time that is just yours, where you can focus on nurturing your body, promoting deep, energizing breaths, and calming any overwrought or overwhelmed feelings in the mind. Take this moment just to notice how you feel physically, any sensations through the body, any areas of your body that need a little bit of extra care and attention and compassion during our practice. Notice at least one part of the body that feels peaceful, spacious, and at ease. Allow your breath to fall in its natural rhythm, and observe whether your breath is naturally short, shallow, long, deep, smooth. Any other descriptive words that you feel match your breath. There's no judgment, we're simply observing our breath in this moment. When you're ready, you can gently deepen your breath. As you exhale, gently engaging across the belly muscles to exhale fully. Then soften the belly to inhale through the sides of the body, the back and the chest. A long, slow breath out, gently engaging the belly muscles to exhale completely. Soften the belly to breathe deeply into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. Long, slow breath out, engaging the belly to exhale completely. Another few rounds of this deep breathing, soft belly as you breathe in, and engaging the belly at the end of the exhalation, just to complete that exhaled part of the breath. At the end of your next exhalation, allowing your breath to find its natural rhythm, relaxing the arms a little, particularly if the palms have been turned forwards, allowing yourself to really stand tall, and then drawing your chin towards your chest. Feel that gentle length Maybe sensation of length across the tops of the shoulders or in between the shoulder blades. And then from here, rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder and chin back to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. If you wish to go slower, you can absolutely do that. Gently moving from side to side. And focus on the sensations that your movement creates. So the sensations of connections in the body. Noticing if one side feels differently from the other. And if you wish to, you can add a sort of 3/4 element to this. So taking your chin up a little, perhaps, when you're over to one side and the other. If there are any areas that feel like a good place to stop and hang out or breathe for a few moments, you can absolutely do that. And we're going to go one more time from side to side. And finish the next time that your chin comes to your chest. Don't hurry to catch up. When you have your chin on your chest, allowing yourself a soft smile and then raising your head so that your head is upright again. And it probably feels good here to take the bottom teeth over the top teeth and just lift the chin, holding for a brief moment, and then coming back just to center. So not rolling all the way down unless you really want to. Relax the chin on the jaw, wiggle the jaw from side to side, and then gently roll your shoulders. Notice how the shoulders feel. Sometimes it feels a little freer after we've done our neck movements. We're going to roll in the opposite direction as well. Very good. And then we are going to take a little bit of movement through the spine. So drawing the backs of the hands towards each other, lengthening the fingertips away and scooping the chin to the chest. And then standing tall, taking the elbows wide, opening the chest, turning the palms upwards. Rounding through your spine, softening the knees, tucking the tailbone under, scooping the belly in. Standing tall, lengthening the legs, firming the buttocks, lifting the chest. Rounding through your spine, you can coordinate with your movement and breath if you like. Inhaling to open. Most people prefer it that way. If you don't, do it the opposite way. Exhaling to round. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to round. Inhaling to open. Just turning the palms and letting the arms float down to the side. And again, just giving yourself a little shoulder roll, maybe a few dancing shoulder movements here. And then we're going to take our movement into a little shoulder movement that goes a bit further. So it doesn't matter which side you start with. I'm going to start with my left side. So we're just rolling the shoulder itself first, the rest of the body nice and steady, nice and firm in your foundation. If it feels good, you can roll your elbow. So making circles with the elbow. I'm doing these circles forward, up, back, and down. If you're only going to roll in one direction, that's the direction to choose. We can extend through the arm. If it feels comfortable to roll with your elbow, then extend through the arm. You don't need to lengthen it all the way straight, just a little bit more space along the arm. And then when you're ready, you can press into the feet, firm the belly and the buttocks, and allow the rest of your body to move as your arm moves. So now the shoulder isn't doing all of the work. The rest of the body is engaged as well. And notice the connections in the body as you move. So what helps here to support this movement? What parts of the body, what movements can you make? If you're comfortable, your head can follow the movement a little. You don't need to follow your hand with your eyes, just allowing the neck to be free to move in a nice, comfortable, natural way. If you get dizzy, try looking towards one point, just keeping your gaze there, and that will allow a little bit more steadiness. Once you've built up, you might like to do a little bit more, sweeping your arm across the body as you crouch down, reaching in nice big circles, doing what I call the full matrix. Because it just looks like that scene where he's dodging bullets. Maybe one more like this. And then coming to standing upright whenever you're ready, observing the difference between the two sides of the body. And hopefully there are some significantly different sensations, but if not, don't worry, it comes with time and practice. We're going to do the opposite side. So again, starting that roll forwards, up, back, and down, rolling just the shoulder. It's really hard not to let the whole body join in on this side as it did on the other side towards the end of our practice, but trying to keep it just to the shoulder or thereabouts as we take the elbow in circles. Notice if this side is different. It's okay if it is. If you get any particular clonking or clicking, just slowing the movement down, making slightly smaller circles, extending your arm if you feel comfortable to do so. We still need to think about engaging in the belly muscles. A little softness in the knees will help the legs to be active here. When you're ready, you can press into the feet, really firm the body and allow the rest of the body to join in with the movement. So you can start small. You don't need to go super expressive straight away. Just seeing if it feels comfortable to move your head a little bit with the movement, allowing the neck to join in. Noticing the connections through the body, the sensations of what's working, what's contracting, what's lengthening. Whenever you're ready, you can perhaps add a little bit more expression to that movement, maybe even going your full matrix. There's no obligation to get to there. It's just if you enjoy it. We'll do one more. And come back to standing upright whenever you're ready. Just going to turn back in this direction, wriggle the shoulders or relax them with a few nice gentle shrugs. And you might notice that your hands are much warmer now than they were at the beginning of class. We're going to take the hands, interlace the fingers and roll the wrists. A little bit of wrist preparation. We'll do some work on our hands and knees eventually, but we're going to get there over time. So anything you find nice to prepare your wrists for some work, it prepares the hands as well, which is lovely. And then we're just going to swing the arms a little bit forwards and backwards, let that gentle lift and lower. This is a really nice thing to do at this time of year, in fact, because it helps to pump our lymphatic fluid around the body, which helps our immune system. And so at this time of year, when you've got lots of people with a cold, it can be a quite nice thing to do. For those of you who haven't tried it before, the palms of the hands face backwards. It's the backwards movement that is the one that we're really focused on. So the forwards movement is just the momentum that we get after we release holding the hands behind the body. And it's quite simple. The shoulders just shrug up and down a little bit. And you can do this for an extended period of time. I've been in classes where they've done it for 7 minutes, but we're just going to do a couple more of these, maybe 3 or 4. Those are all different numbers. And when you're ready, just allow your movement to become smaller and smaller until your hands are resting down by your sides. Take your feet a little wider, a softness in the knees, and gently twist from one side to the other. Allow the arms to be really loose. So hopefully the shoulders and arms feel really loose after that shrugging exercise. And so we can let them wrap around the body and tap the body wherever they fall. The head can follow your movement, or you can keep your head centered if that's better for sensations of dizziness. And then we can add movements here. So if you wish to, you can keep the hips still and move a little bit higher up the body, perhaps a little bit more forcefully. So we're really pressing into the legs to help this movement happen, to keep the hips still, to resist the twist of the shoulder girdle, shoulders, upper body. And then when you're ready, you can free the hips to move with your movement, perhaps slowing it down ever so slightly, pivoting on your toes if you like. Still thinking about those soft elbows that allow the arms to wrap around the body and tap wherever they fall. And you can explore tapping in different areas if it feels good. You can move your tap to be around the hips or the waist, the bottom of the rib cage, chest, top of the rib cage, the collarbones. If you'd like to, you can add a little soft bend in the knees. A little bend and twist, bend and twist. And whilst this is obviously a practice that I love because we do it in most classes, it is common as a discipline to pretty much every martial arts discipline that has come out of the East. We'll do a couple more of these and then we're going to lose the bounce, simply pivot, and then bring the feet to steadiness and sway back to center until you find yourself standing tall again, organizing everything upright, taking a moment to drop the fingertips to the floor, feel the effect of your practice, the increasing sensation of vitality and energy and vibration through the body. And then we're going to come to a little bit of side bending. So you can start with swinging your hips from side to side. You don't have to put your hands anywhere in particular, but if you enjoy hands on hips, that's fine. And here my legs are long, but not absolutely straight. So a little softness across the knees. And then as I move the hips one way, I'm going to lift the heel of the opposite foot and soften that knee towards, just forwards is fine. And that allows me to bend a little deeper into this side bend. So I get a little bit more length from that long side. And if you like to, you can put your arms into it, nice and firm in the belly. There's just a sensation of floating both heels off the floor in between sides. Feel free to slow your movement down or to go a little quicker if you're inclined. Slow is generally a little bit more demanding in terms of muscles that are firing. And you can do anything that feels good with your neck. So if you like to look underneath the top arm, little turn of the head in that direction. If you like to look down at the floor, that's fine too. Let's do 2 more to each side. Very nice. And then just floating both heels down, floating the arms to the side. We're making any wriggly motions that feel good. We're going to take our hands onto our hips and with soft knees, make circles with the hips. So here, the rest of the body can join in. We're doing a little circling of the hips now that we've opened up the sides of the body. We've got much more room to move into rather. We can go the opposite way as well. Nice movement through the body. Soften the knees to let the hips move as much as possible. You might begin to feel that movement around the sole of the foot as well. And then we're going to come to standing upright. Soften the knees. Try to keep the chest and shoulders still and just make those circles with the hips themselves. So, trying to resist the movement with the upper part of the body. It's really good for developing the deeper muscles that support the torso. And we can go in the opposite direction as well. Just doing as much or as little as feels good to your body. And as I say, trying to keep the upper part of the body nice and still. One more time around. And then we'll stand tall, just shake out the legs a little bit. Super stuff. So before we come down to working on the floor, we're going to do a little bit of movement for our legs, for our knees and ankles. And you can do this freestanding. If you do it freestanding, it is a little bit more demanding, or you can hold on to something if you've got something close by. So it could be a wall or a sofa or a chair, table, whatever feels good. If you feel that you are generally a little bit wobbly on your feet, hold on to something. There is no shame here. It's not easier because you're doing that. It's just a different way of doing it. It allows you to focus on maintaining quite a nice lift and alignment through the body without having to think about it as much. And you can do a fingertip hold. You don't need to be leaning on the wall with your whole arm. Fingertip hold will give you that confidence to stand nice and upright. So we're going to take our weight onto our right foot first, find a point of focus ahead that is not moving, and simply lift the left knee in front of the body and bend and stretch that leg. So we're looking for movement here through the knee joint itself without needing to get the leg particularly high or particularly straight. It's just that beginning to lubricate that joint. When we've done a few bending and stretching, we can leave the toes pointing downwards and make circles with that knee. Firm the belly, stand tall, circles with that foot wrong, and then the opposite way as well. So we're moving the low leg. It does move the upper leg a little bit, but only a little bit. And then we're going to stand onto both feet. Notice how it feels between the two sides of the body. So your standing leg is working really hard to stabilize, and the moving leg, of course, is working as well. Same point of focus or similar, move the weight onto the left foot, raise the right knee, just bending and stretching the leg at the knee, but just lubricating the knee joint, finding that internal lift, maybe openness of the chest, keep the back of the body working, and then toes pointing downwards, stir the foot in circles so you make movements with the low leg below the knee. And then we're going the opposite direction as well. There is some movement in the thigh, but not as much as you would imagine. And then we step onto both legs and notice how it feels. Now, if you have a lot of effort in your hip flexors, don't be too concerned. We're coming to the mat where we'll definitely ease through that effort. But if you need to, give yourself a little hip wiggle or shoulder wiggle at any stage, please do so. We'll come back to standing on the right leg with our point of focus, all good balancing effort. We're going to lift the left knee in front and then just stir the foot at the ankle. So ankle circles. If you like, you can rest your left hand on your left thigh and press the hand down and the thigh up at the same time. Even more work. Stirring the ankle in the opposite direction as well. Can't remember which way I was going around the first time. I think I already swapped directions. Hey ho. There we are. And then stand onto both feet. Again, notice if you've got any of that effort in the hip flexors, it's okay to have that effort. If you feel it across your low back, it probably means that your hip flexors are a little bit tight, but we're coming to sort those out. Standing onto the left leg, stand tall, lifting the right knee in front, point of focus, making those ankle circles. Keeping that lift in the center of the body, you can press the right hand down and the right thigh up at the same time if you wish to. Helps to stabilize. Rotate in the opposite direction. Very good. Oh, and then standing onto both feet, giving yourself any sort of wiggly movements that feel good. And then we'll come to standing on the right leg again. I know there's a lot of this. With your point of focus, lifting the left leg and just giving it a gentle swing. So we want to find firmness in the belly here. If you need to, arms out to the side for a little bit of support. Gentle swing. And then backwards and forwards is easy. Try swinging across the body, out to the side and behind, out to the side and in front. That's a little bit tougher. Super stuff. One more time. And then step onto both feet. Wiggle anything that needs wiggling. Take your awareness into your left foot. Remember, you can fingertip touch at any time. And then lifting tall so you can swing the right leg forwards and backwards to begin with. That lift in the belly, your point of focus. And then when you're ready, you can take this out to the side and across the body, out to the side in front, out to the side behind. If it doesn't work, you can just simply go out to the side and back to center. Or stick with swinging backwards and forwards, no problem at all. I took my eye off my point of focus. One more time, back and front. And then step onto both feet. Wiggle anything that needs wiggling. Hopefully your body's beginning to feel the effects. And we do one more thing to each side. So we're going to stand on the right foot, lift the left knee, and then just make circles with that left knee. The circles can start small, but if you're able to, working into slightly bigger circles, using your core muscles to resist the movement so we stay tall, and going in the opposite direction as well. Remember, you can use a little fingertip touch on support if you need to. When you're ready, standing onto both feet, feeling the effect of your practice. The effort is building. The effort is building in this area of the body. So don't be alarmed if you're feeling it quite a lot there. If you wriggle and it doesn't release all of the effort, it's okay. We're just about to come down to the mat and sort it out. So focus onto the left foot, standing tall, right knee in the air, and then making circles, starting small, making larger circles as they become available to you. Fingertip touch if you need it. And you might find that one side needs it more than the other. And when you're ready, going in the opposite direction. We're using the effort of the center of the body to stabilize, to resist the movement that the hip is making so that we can feel that sense of balance. When you're ready, standing onto both feet, giving yourself that wiggliness. So usually after all of that, we really like a forward bend. So we're going to do a forward bend and we're going to do an alternation, sorry, clothes have gone all over the place, an alternation between forward bending and squatting. So if you take your feet nice and wide, they don't need to be super wide, but just comfortably wider than your shoulders is nice. We're going to start with breathing in, taking the arms up. And as you breathe out, folding forward from your hips, a little soft in the knees on the way down, scooping the belly in and coming into that forward bend. Doesn't matter how deep in the forward bend you are, doesn't matter how bent your knees are. Relax the back of your neck so that your head is nice and hanging towards the floor. If you wish to here, you can hold elbow to elbow. If you wish to, you can just leave the backs of the hands towards the floor. Organize your tailbone upwards a little bit. So try not to tuck it under, try to lift it up, get lots of length in the low back. If it's comfortable, you can gently nod the head a few times and then gently turn the head a few times. And then we are going to work into bending the knees a little deeper. So turning the toes out a little and letting your hips come down to wherever feels good. So it doesn't matter if it's not particularly low. If you want to use a chair or a sofa to do this or a door frame, perfect. And then from here, from our squatting position, we're going to turn the toes straight and come into that forward bend. Just wiggling ourselves around, maybe bending one knee a bit, then the other, like walking the dog, but in a forward bend. And then turning the toes out and coming into that deeper squat. And it doesn't matter if you're up here, it's absolutely fine. Just go to wherever feels good for your body. We're going to do this a few times. Toes turn forwards, taking the forward bend, maybe thinking about exploring slightly straighter legs one at a time, one side straightening then the other, and then turning the toes out and finding that deeper squat. And in your squat, if you'd like to, you can press the elbows into the inner legs. You can do a little bit of rocking around if you want to. Doesn't matter if you don't. Let's do one more time, straightening the legs. This time with our legs straight, maybe holding elbow to elbow, keep the hips in place, and sway the upper body from side to side. Nice little lift in the belly muscles, lift in the tailbone, finding length in the back of the body. And when you're ready, in the center, turning the toes out, coming into that deeper squat. And you can make any movements that feel good. If you are not comfortable squatting, come down onto your knees. But if you're comfortable squatting, you can reach the left hand down and the right arm up. And we're pressing the left arm into the inside of the left leg to create a little bit of openness across that side of the body. And then coming back to the center, same thing on the other side. Reach the right hand down and out to the side, left arm up, a little twist through the body, resisting with the right thigh and arm. And then coming back to center. And from here, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. And on our hands and knees, we're just gently going to stir the hips in a circle. So we're moving the hips forward and backwards as we make a round shape. So imagine you've got a pencil from your belly button and you're drawing a circle on the floor. It's probably the easiest way to say it. A little soft across the elbows. You can sway the upper body around. There's no set alignment here. When you're ready, you can go in the opposite direction as well. What this does is it helps to prepare the wrists for weight bearing, which is also quite nice. Little softness across the elbows, firm in the belly. And in your own time, coming to center, maybe knees apart, toes together, find your child's pose. In child's pose, this is the first moment of stillness we've had for a little while. So here, if you'd like to, you can turn your palms upwards. You don't have to, but it's quite nice. But here, softening the effort of the body and just noticing the effect of your practice so far. Few deeper breaths. Softening the features of your face. Finding that sense of letting go into the stillness. Whenever you're ready, you can come forwards into a more upright position, maybe interlacing the hands and just wriggling the wrists. Sorry, my laptop started making funny noises, but I think it's probably the antivirus software has finished doing its thing. And they're going the opposite way as well. It's ruined the effect, though, hasn't it, of the fact that I could be just in your living room, but in fact I'm in mine. But there we are, it's all good. So, giving the wrists a little bit of a shake out, and we're going to now come to doing a little bit more movement on our hands and knees and moving into also lungy poses. So I do have a vault here at the end of my mat, which I'm going to use a bit later on, but I'm going to gather my blocks. And also I'd like something just to soften my knee, particularly my right knee against the floor. So if you would like something like that available, you can pop it to one side. Let us start with a bit of cat-cow, and we'll do a little waving vinyasa as well. I just recorded a short video about this before our class started, so we'll definitely use that today. So we're going to take the hands onto the floor. Everybody in this class knows how to do their hands and knees, so I shan't analyze it. Just making sure you're pressing down into the hands and feet and creating lift underneath the body, so space underneath the body. We're going to begin with just tilting the pelvis, tucking under and tucking the opposite way. And as you do that, begin to gather your pelvic floor, pelvic activation into the center, and perhaps a little touch of lift there and in the belly muscles, so that you feel different sensations with the pelvis in different positions. We're also going to roll the inner elbows slightly towards each other and soften the elbows just a touch off straight so that we're really using the muscles of the upper body and the arms to support. Whenever you're ready, you can turn this into a full cat-cow. So still keeping the activation of the pelvic floor, still keeping that sensation of lifting the body away from the floor when you round through the spine, pressing into the feet and the hands, and then gliding the shoulder blades down to open the chest, gliding the shoulder blades up to round through the spine. Just feeling that movement across the upper back like a massage for the upper back. Allow your head to follow your movement, but you don't need to overwork the neck. When you're ready, if you'd like to, you can step your knees a little bit further back, and as you round through the spine, you can bring your hips back towards your heels, and then as you come forward, just gently softening the elbows to bring yourself into this open-chested variation with the shoulders perhaps a little bit more forward, and then rounding through the spine, hips to heels, inner elbows slightly turned in, and then softening the elbows as much as feels comfortable as you come forward. The more you soften the elbows, the more effort is required in the upper body, the stronger it is for the arms and shoulders. So doing something that feels good to you. So this is actually a more dynamic version of the cat. In classical yoga, this is called Shashank Bhujangasana. So it's a mixture of hare pose and something close to cobra pose. There is a more intense variation, which perhaps looks a little bit closer to that. Let's do one more like this. And then when you're ready, you can sit yourself back onto your heels. You can take a child's pose if that feels good. But if you just want to take the weight off the wrists, you can give the backs of your wrists a little massage. It's always nice to do, even for those of us who don't particularly have sensitive wrists or have quite high tolerance for weight-bearing work. It's still nice to release and to take the opportunity to let go of some of the effort in the hands, making figure of eights with your interlaced fingers, or just rolling through the backs of the wrists, doing something nice for them after they've done this lovely weight bearing for us. And we can go the opposite way as well. Super stuff. So from here, we're going to come into a bit of a lunge variation. And when we've done our lunge, we're going to come back through a downward dog to go to the other side, but we're going to start from kneeling. So I'm going to step forward with my right foot first, supporting the left knee as needed. And here in the upright position, I can just begin to feel my way into bringing the hips a little bit more forward and then bringing the hips a little bit more backwards. So instead of going straight into swinging lunges, we're just going to ease our way forward a little bit and ease our way back. And so we're focused on this long leg at the back, that space that's opening the front of the pelvis, and easing back. And we'll just do one more like this. Firm in the feet, firm in the belly. Buttocks really do need to be active, particularly on the side where the leg is back. Then we can take our blocks and we can make as much space as we need to swing the hips backwards and forwards. The blocks can go anywhere that you like. I need to give myself a little bit more room still. And then we're bringing the hips forward, but we're using the arms to support. So we want to explore our range of movement, but we don't want to hang out at the very end of the range of movement. And then we can explore the range of movement coming back the way and go between the two. So I'm tucking my back toe flat because my knee is a little bit irritated. It's from kneeling down and doing crafts with the kids over the weekends. We did Christmas crafts. And if you want to, you can allow your neck to be part of this movement. You can lift your chin as you come forward. You can tuck your chin as you come backwards. It doesn't matter. Do something that your body feels good doing. And with the front leg, alternating lifting the toe or toes towards the mat. So I tend to do lifting the toes quite often. So I need to work on remembering to do toes to the mat as well. And that doesn't feel quite so comfortable, so it's probably really worthwhile doing. The next time your hips come back, just giving them a little wiggle from side to side. Trying to think about scooping the belly in, lengthening the tailbone, creating space along the back of the right leg. And from here, we're going to take the blocks off the mat, hands framing the front foot, lengthen the back leg, and step into downward facing dog. And in your downward dog, giving yourself that paddling sensation, where you've got one heel coming more to the mat and then the other. You can move in the shoulders at the same time. So you can literally press more into one hand than the other, giving a little twist through the body, some length of the tailbone up towards the ceiling, and allowing the crown of the head to be heavy towards the floor, if that feels good, or between the arms, if that's better. When you're ready, I'm just moving my block to the opposite side. You can bring your knees down and step forward with your left foot. And we're coming up into an upright position first. So it should feel quite nice to do that. And then we're just exploring moving forwards and moving backwards. So here it's more the forwards that we have emphasis on, because back is harder to do in this upright position. But we just want to begin to explore what length is available to us naturally without forcing or straining. And then when you're ready, you can take your hands onto your blocks, firm your belly muscles, tuck the back toes or leave them flat. And we want to bring the hips forward in this supported position. We've got the weight of the upper body a little bit taken by the arms here. And just see how much further forward we can come if we come down. And then allowing the hips to come back the way. So gently forwards and backwards. Moving at a pace that feels good to you. Thinking about exploring the length in the left leg as the hips come backwards, and exploring the length in the front of the right side of the pelvis as the hips come forwards. Remember to alternate. I've forgotten again. So remember to alternate toes to the floor and toes up as you bring the hips backwards. You can keep the body much more upright. You can move your blocks with you if it's helpful to do that. Don't feel like they have to just stay in one place. The next time your hips come all the way back, just allowing the hips to wiggle from side to side, thinking about lengthening your tailbone. Again, a little bit of support for the upper body. Just takes the weight off the leg itself. And then when you're ready, hands can come off the blocks, hands framing the front foot, and step back into downward facing dog. Giving yourself a little wiggle from side to side. You can here bend the knees deeply and just wiggle the hips, keeping the shoulders nice and still if it feels good to do that. Strong in the hands. And when you're ready, supporting the opposite knee if you need to, and stepping forward with the right foot. Doesn't matter how you get there, we're just all about this. Super stuff. So we're going to explore a little bit of movement around the mat here. So we're going to take the hands onto the hips and come into a nice lunge and come back again. And then we're going to lift our foot and move it slightly out to the side. So a little angle, lunge and back. And then lift the foot and move it slightly, lunge and back. We might come all the way to the side, lunge and back. You might even open slightly behind your front knee, or your back knee rather, if that feels good. And then we'll go back the way. So coming out to the side, like the numbers on a clock, as we do our little lunge and back, and finally back to the front. And we'll do our downward facing dog to come out, lengthening the back leg, stepping into down dog, doing a little bit of a wriggle, swapping the block to the other side if you've got it handy, and then coming into a lunge with the left foot forward. So again, hands on hips, we're quite upright, so we're not doing massive amounts of movement. Tucking the back toe if you prefer, lunging forwards and backwards. They're just angling slightly off that center out to the side, and then slightly more, lunging and back, maybe coming directly to the side, and maybe one just slightly behind, if that feels okay. So we just do what feels good for our bodies. Out to the side, coming back the way, greater angle, smaller angle, and back to doing it straight. Very good. Downward facing dog. Oh, fantastic stuff. Giving yourself a little wiggle. And here we're going to turn our downward dogs into waving vinyasas. So take your feet a little bit further back from your hands, and we'll take the knees down to the mat and the buttocks back towards the heels, like an extended child's pose, keeping the toes tucked under or toes flat if you prefer. Want to roll the inner elbows slightly towards each other and feel that engage the upper back. Scoop the belly in and press off the feet and round the hips forward. Look back towards your knees until your shoulders are over your hands, and then look forward. Firm the buttocks, firm the belly, glide the shoulder blades down to open the chest. You can nestle the front of the hips towards the floor if it feels good. Knees down, and then rounding the opposite way to bring the hips back towards the heels. Let's do 2 more like that. Engaging the upper arms, rounding forward, firming belly and buttocks, opening the chest, gliding the shoulder blades down, little softness across the elbows here, and then pressing the mat away to scoop the belly in, round back, hips to heels. 1 more time, rounding forwards, opening your chest, and then scooping in, lifting away from the mat, rounding back, and finding that extended sort of child's pose, puppy dog pose. We're going to come from here into any comfortable upright position, kneeling or otherwise. Give the wrists a little massage, maybe a gentle roll. Super stuff. So we are going to again step forward with our right foot. So placing the left knee on a support if you need to, right foot forward. And we're going to try and find a little bit of a twist here. So we're going to start with an upright position. I have been inspired to do this just now. It wasn't on my plan, so apologies. Pressing both feet into the floor. If you want to, you can tuck the back toes if that allows you a better purchase. I find that for most of us, tucking the back toes makes the knee against the floor a little bit more challenging, a little bit more sensitive or intense. So if you wish to do this with your back toes tucked flat, absolutely, it doesn't matter. What we want to do is have that sense of pressing the feet into the floor to feel the legs really fire up. We're going to be nice and firm here. We're going to reach the arms out to the side and then take the right hand down and the left arm over. So a little side bend, and then come back to the center. Do the same thing to the other side. Left hand down and right arm over, and then come back to the center. Cactus arms to open the chest and twist to the right. So left elbow towards right knee, and then return to the center, legs still very active, twist to the left, and return to the center. And from here, we're going to take the hands forward. We're going to come onto the blocks and let the hips shift forwards a little bit. And we're going to do a little twist here. So hips are forward. We can take the right arm forwards and around the body. If you wish to, you can even reach towards the left foot. And we'll do that 3 times. So reaching towards the left foot is completely optional. I don't think I'm going to bother this time. There we are. And then we're going to come down a little bit lower. So losing the blocks. If you can, angle your right foot out to the right slightly and let your hips come lower still. And then pressing the right thigh slightly away as you twist to the right. So that's up to you. If you want to roll all the way onto the edge of the right foot, if it feels good for your hips, you can do that. I usually don't feel quite so stable that way, so keeping the foot on the floor works for me. And then here, again, we can make those big circles with the right arm. The hips are just a little bit more open. We'll do 2 of those, and then we're going to reach the right arm up, open across the chest, and take the right elbow to the inside of the right knee and try to slide the right elbow all the way down to the floor. So the forearm gets towards the floor, and we'll do 2 more of those. So opening all the way to the side, all the way up rather, twisting, and then elbow to the inside of the calf and sliding all the way down. One last time, sliding all the way down. And then from here, we're just going to angle the knee a little bit straighter, take the hands onto the floor and step back into downward facing dog. And here in downward dog, just doing any little wiggles that feel good. And then we're going to do a little waving vinyasa. So from the hands and knees, if you prefer, from feet, if you're happy, dropping the hips back towards the heels, rolling the inner elbows towards each other, around through the spine, scoop the belly in, slide the shoulder blades down, open the chest, firm in the buttocks, and soften the elbows and knees, and then coming back to downward facing dog. Just one more of those. Hips to heels, rounding through the spine, opening the chest, and coming back into your downward facing dog. For those who had a support in place, you can pop it underneath your right knee and then bring your left leg forward. We're going to come into our upright lunge to begin with, tucking the back toes if you enjoy that, back toes flat if you prefer. So we want to be nice and firm in the feet, arms down to the side, reach the left hand down and the right arm over, nice side bend. Oh, it feels so good. And then back to center and the opposite way. This way also feels good, but not quite as good. I mean, it's not quite the same sensation. And then back to center. Take us into cactus arms, nice and open in the chest, and twist the right elbow towards the left knee as we twist upright, and then back to center, and twisting in the opposite direction as well. And back to center. We're going to bring ourselves a little bit more into our lunge. We can use the blocks to get ourselves into just the right position. Leave the right hand on the right block and bring the left arm around the body in a circle. You can reach towards the right foot if you wish to. And doing 2 more of these big circling movements. Still nice and firm in the feet. Feels much better on this side. And then from here, we're taking ourselves into a slightly deeper lunge. So we're going to lose the blocks. We can angle the left leg out to the left. Hips come forwards and maybe turning with the torso towards that left thigh as the left thigh moves out to the left side. Rolling onto the edge of the foot if it feels good to you. I prefer to keep mine a little bit more centered. And then we'll move in those big arm circles with the left hand, moving around the body. I'm going to do 2 of these, so 1 more. Lovely motion. And then do 3 of our twists. So reaching the left arm up, engaging the upper back, turning to the left, and then left elbow to the inside of the left knee, sliding it down the left lower leg towards the floor. Doesn't matter if it doesn't touch. And then opening into that twist again. Nice and firm in the buttocks. And then bringing that elbow to the inside of the left knee, sliding down towards the mat. 1 more time. And doing that gentle sliding down. From here, to come upright, we bring the knee a little bit more centered so our hips begin to move back the way a little and step into downward facing dog. In downward dog, we're giving ourselves a little wiggle from side to side, moving any blocks from the mat, and we'll take 2 waving vinyasas, any one you like. You can just do cat-cow if you prefer. Hips to heels, pressing off the heels as you round through the spine, opening the chest, gliding the shoulder blades down, and then rounding through the spine, Back to downward dog or hands and knees as you choose. Hips to heels, round through the spine as you press forward, opening the chest, and then rounding through the spine as you come backwards. Take your feet a little bit closer to your hands, but nice and wide apart. I'm going to come up onto the tiptoes, drop the heels to the left first. Firm your hands into the mat and then bend the knees deeply and stretch the legs. Squatting dog, 2 more on this side. Resisting the urge to turn the shoulders. And then coming back onto your tiptoes, dropping the heels to the opposite side, pressing chest to thighs, bending the knees, stretching the legs, squatting dog, resisting the urge to move the shoulders as well. When you're ready, coming back to center, and we're going to take a child's pose to rest. Knees apart if you prefer, knees together if that is what you fancy. Forehead to the floor or to the back of your folded arms. If your knees are apart, you can turn the palms upwards, let the shoulders soften. If you prefer the hands down, you can do that. If you prefer your knees together, arms can rest down by the sides of the body to the ankles themselves. And here, allowing your breath to settle, softening the effort across the whole body, releasing the muscles of your abdomen, the space between the shoulders, the face, the jaw. Taking one more deep breath in and sighing out. When you're ready, you can bring your hands back towards you, coming into any comfortable upright position. Very good. If you need to roll your wrists, going for it. If you need a bit more rest, then you can go for it doing that as well. We're going to move from this movement practice that hopefully has left you feeling delicious or in all different directions to doing a quiet seated practice. So if you want to put on some extra layers, now is a good time. I'm going to pop on this very large and a comfy jumper. It's not the most attractive jumper in the world, but I do love it. And I don't have to wear a scarf with it because it covers my neck as well, which is lovely. And you might like a blanket to rest across your knees or around your shoulders if you prefer. So I'm going to sit on this bolster, but if you want to sit on a cushion or even in a chair, then that is absolutely fine. Just do what feels good to you. So gathering yourself, for those of you who have been doing yoga for a long time, you probably know the seated pose that works for you best. But if you are doing this on the video later and you are not familiar with different options, then there is a video on this channel about choosing seated poses for meditation practices or mindfulness practices, breath practices. So do refer to that. Whatever position you choose, could be kneeling or cross-legged, chair or floor-based, allowing yourself to organize tall so that the body feels lengthened, but without strain, so without force or holding, and resting your hands wherever is comfortable. And take a moment just to gently close the eyes or gaze downward. And take note of your practice, the effects of your practice in your body. See if you can find that sense of deeper stillness. And where you find tension in your body, see if you can release it simply by thinking of releasing it. When you're ready, drawing your awareness to your breath. Simply noting your spontaneous breath, the rhythm of your breath. The sensations of your breath. You may notice that your breath is slightly longer and deeper than it was at the beginning of the class. And if you wish to promote this deeper breath, you can bring your hands into chin mudra, first finger and thumbs together, other fingers extended. With awareness of your breath, gently deepening the breath. Keeping your forehead, jaw, and shoulders softening. As you breathe in, allow the breath to lift you tall. Feel lightness and length in the body. As you breathe out, softening the effort of the forehead, jaw, and shoulders. Feeling the weight drop into the parts of your body that are on the floor or seated support. Focus on that sensation or image of being the conduit between things that are above and the earth. You may feel a gentle expansion of yourself as you stretch in between above and earth. Throughout this breath practice, allowing your breath to remain at ease and gentle without strain or breathlessness. If you feel any of those things, just resting, breathing gently until we catch up with you. Begin by counting the length of your inhaled and exhaled breath. Counting how long it takes to breathe in, and with the same counting method, how long it takes to breathe out. There is no right or wrong length of breath, just simply noting yours in this moment and taking a few breaths to make it the same on every breath. So if you breathe in for 4 and out for 5, trying to have at least 3 consistent breaths in a row where that is the same count on every breath. When you are ready, keeping your inhaled breath always the same length as it is now, Extend your exhaled breath by 1 count. For example, breathing in for 4 and out for 6. If there's a natural pause at the end of your inhaled breath, begin your count as you exhale and allow the pause to be there at the top or bottom of the breath, but just counting the breathing parts. Check that your face is relaxed, your jaw, tongue, and shoulders soft. And if this breath feels easy or you feel at ease doing it, you can extend your exhaled breath by 1 count. Keep your inhaled breath the same. Breathing in for 4 and out for 7, for example. If doing this new count leaves you feeling a little bit awkward or unsure, revert to the previous comfortable breath. Remember, at any time you can just sit in quiet stillness, breathing deeply without counting. If you feel at ease, trying to extend your exhaled breath by 1 more count. For example, breathing in for 4 and out for 8. Face soft, jaw relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Try to keep your inhaled breath gentle. If you try to breathe in as much as you can, usually counterintuitively, it makes it harder to extend your exhalation. So gentle 3/4 of a breath in, nice, long, slow exhale. Allowing your face and shoulders to soften. If you feel comfortable, add another count to your exhalation. And you can continue adding to your exhalation every 5 or so breaths, as long as it feels comfortable and there's no tension in your body as a result of your breath. This way you could end up breathing in for 4 and out for 12 or 18 or longer. You may be quite comfortable breathing in for 4 and out for 6 or 7 or 8. For the remainder of the practice, focusing on your breath. Bringing your mind back to your breath if it wanders. Keeping the face and the shoulders nice and relaxed. At the end of your next exhalation, allow your breath to fall into a natural rhythm and observe the effect of your practice, the subtleness of your breath, and the deeper stillness and calm within. When you're ready, taking a deeper breath and gently sighing. Bring the palms together at the center of the chest. Lift your chest and take your chin gently downwards. Give yourself a soft smile. Blink your eyes open, and when you're ready, raising your head and releasing your hands down. Make any movements that feel good. Feel free to release from your seated pose. I hope that you've been comfortable there for our 15 minutes of stillness. Oh, I'm going to put this down over here. So just before we come to relaxation, we're going to gently move the body one more time. So if you start with your legs crossed and just give your shoulders a gentle roll, we're going to extend the right leg to the right side of the body and just do a gentle movement here. So, well, it's not that gentle, but we'll start gently and work into it. So if you take your arms to cactus arms to sit really tall, and then the back of the left hand towards the right foot, up and over, and we're going to take the left hand behind the body, simply lean back to begin with, and just draw a nice big circle around the body with the right arm as well. One more like that. Cactus arms to feel length and lift through the back of the body or front of the body. Back of the left hand towards the right foot, up and over, leaning back onto the left hand to create a little bit of space to move the right arm around the body as well. This time, for those of you who are familiar, we're lifting the hips. So back of the left hand towards the right foot, up and over. Take that hand down, and if you wish to, lift your hips coming onto your left low leg and your right arm, and moving the right foot rather, moving the right arm around. Two more like that. Sweeping around in this lovely circle, lifting the hips, opening the front of the body. And last one, left hand to the right foot, up and over, hand behind the body, opening the chest. As you come to back down, you can bring your legs back into the center, make any shoulder movements, twists, or otherwise that are needed, and then extend the left leg out to the left side. Starting with sitting in cactus arms, back of the right hand to the left leg, reaching up and over, hands down behind you, just leaning away to make a big circle with the left arm. Cactus arms to sit tall, back of the right hand to the left foot, up and over, leaning away onto that right arm as you circle the left arm around. And 3, lifting the hips, totally optional if you like. Back of the right hand to the left leg, up and over. Place the hand down quite close to your hips so you can get good support as you come onto the right shin and the left foot, lifting the hips, moving the left arm around. Back of the right hand to the left foot, up and over. Lifting the hips to make the left arm circle as well. Last one. Reaching around the body. And then folding that leg in as well, sitting nice and tall, taking a moment just to feel the effect of your practice. We're going to come down onto our backs for relaxation. And you can have to hand anything that would be useful, like I've got a bolster and a blanket. As you come down, maybe knees to chest, gently roll to the floor. You might like to keep your knees in, take the knees to the left and look to the right. And then the opposite way, so moving nose and knees in opposite directions. And then in the center, perhaps stirring the knees a little bit, massaging the back of the body against the floor, and making any knee circles that feel good. So you might like to do one knee and then the other in opposite directions. You might like to keep the knees together or apart. You might like to move them in unison, as you choose. Each position will have a slightly different effect on the back, so use the position that feels the best for you, but holding the knees so that you're not really having to do any internal, or not as much internal work. If you feel comfortable, you can lengthen your legs up towards the ceiling and just give the ankles a little bit of a roll. You can support your thighs with your hands on your thighs if it feels good to do that. Your legs do not need to be straight. And then you can wave the soles of the feet towards the ceiling as if you were waving your arms, which you can do with your arms as well if you like, just to roll the thigh bones in the hip sockets. When you're ready, taking the feet down to the floor and maybe allowing the knees to sway one way and then the other. Your head can move in the same or opposite directions. Just a last little rotation through the spine. And then in your own time, placing your supports in place. Hopefully, like me, you've become quite adept at moving your bolster around with your feet only. Placing your blanket on top, getting nice and cozy. And as you come to your resting position, if you need to make any last minute adjustments or you notice something that needs an extra wriggle, perhaps turning the head from side to side or stretching the body to release the shoulders, whatever you need to do right now, doing it before you bring your body to stillness. If you can, relax with your feet quite wide, toes falling slightly outwards, and relaxing with the arms lengthened away from the body with the palms turned upwards. Feel how that opens the chest but allows the shoulders to soften, shoulder blades to release. Take a long, deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth. Repeat 3 more times. A long, deep breath in. Let all the effort of practice go. Long, deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. Long, deep breath in. And surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm and fall into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead. Feel it soften. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. Allow the whole of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, and softening down. Move your awareness to your breath. Find a gentle, slow, deep rhythm of breath that feels comfortable, easy, peaceful. Allowing your breath to be in this rhythm whenever you're aware of it. Feel your body relax a little deeper with every exhalation. Mm. Gently begin to deepen your breath, bringing your awareness back into your hands and your feet by moving your fingers and toes, maybe rolling the wrists and the ankles. When you feel ready, you can take a deep breath in and stretch the body in any way that feels good, maybe gently lengthening one side and the other, maybe yawning to stretch the face. If you've got a bolster in place, you might like to simply rest your feet on top of the bolster, roll your head from side to side, or sway your knees from side to side, or a bit of both. If you wish to, you can bend your knees into your chest, hugging them towards you. Make any movements that feel good. You might like to do another little massage out of the back of the body. Now that you have done relaxation, you'll be perhaps a little bit more aware of where you're holding tension in the body. And hopefully it's much less than you had before. When you're ready, rolling onto one side and just taking a moment to curl up on your side. Coming round slowly allows you to contain that sense of stillness and peacefulness and build back into movement from stillness. When you're ready, coming up into any comfortable upright position. You can rest your hands over your heart or palms together at the center of your chest. Find yourself organized upright and then chin to chest. Feel that sense of lengthening. Give yourself a gentle smile. We've cultivated some stillness in a class filled with movement. And we can do both in our lives and throughout this week. Notice when you have moments of stillness, even when there's lots of movement or energy around you, knowing that you can find respite in those moments from the increasing chaos that happens as we approach the festive season. Give yourself a gentle smile, and when you're ready, raising your head and opening your eyes. I hope you've enjoyed this practice today. Not perhaps as gentle as I said it would be at the beginning of the class. So apologies, it's just the mood, the way it took us as we went. But I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.